I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is. That reached 100 million people, I tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church. Don't look like the faded, don't look like the ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change these battle scars. Don't look like the faded, don't look like the ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change these battle.
Well, hello everyone, and this thing is looking weird. It's my already against the next mandate thing. It's awful bright, isn't it? It's bothering me. That needs to come down. That is bothering me. Okay, much better. I got a real hot spot on that wall with that light. Don't like it. I'm not using my normal camera. So if it looks a little widescreen, that's why I left my normal camera upstairs. And if you guys wonder, okay, I think I've told you that I've been donating plasma for money because, like, you know, this is my only job right now. And look how they mangle all those. Look at that. Isn't that nasty? So they tried to poke this arm and it like bled under the skin. So then they went to this arm and this arm looks fine, but they mangled. Look at that. Isn't that terrible? But I'm a bleeder and I'm a bruiser. And I'm a lover, and I'm gonna do whatever that song is from the Joker. I'm really giving my age, aren't I? Who was that did that that song? He also did the Steve Miller Band. Oh, God. The people here are too young to know that. And yes, I am wearing my Mudacorum shirt. You can get that. Oh, where's my little... I don't have my grifting message. I deleted that by accident. Oh, so we are recording tomorrow. Okay, Mike. I was going to ask you that. I need to redo my grifting message. I deleted it by accident. What a terrible grifter I am. So I'll just verbally say it. You can get these t-shirts over at tinyurl.com/pink flame merch. Get your merch. And also, we are into October. It's my birthday month. I'm getting older. It's also the month of my JC hearing, but we have a new Patreon goal as we do. So if where? Okay. I don't know. And first, well, I know some things. I should have McCo's. Mr. McCo's. I know who you are. I just can't pronounce that whole name there. And this is plasma. They have to hook you up for an hour. So they're sucking blood out of you for an hour, and it's this big needle. That's why that messed up my arm so bad. It's not even like giving blood. It's worse. But you get paid decently well, and I'm desperate, until I can grow this YouTube channel. So if you want to help me not get blood sucked out of myself twice a week, you can become a patron. What a grift. What a grift I've got going on here. Oh, continuing with the grifting. Super chats are always welcome. So this is going to be a short show because I'm going to tell you what I know. I know probably the same thing you guys do, but I want to give an introduction here because a lot of people forget how I operate. Okay? Because a lot of you maybe became aware of me on the tail ends of controversies when the investigation's already been done. There's been definite bad actors. I've already reached my conclusions. And some people expect if I hear of something, I'm immediately going to go, off and running. And I'm not like that. I have a reputation of respect in this party for a reason, and that is that I have a reputation to examine situations fairly and give a principled opinion regardless of my own personal factional interests. And that takes time. And in most situations, not all, because obviously this isn't the case with the LNC, there are no devils and there are no angels. There's just different perspectives. And I will come down, usually pretty strongly on one or the other, but that doesn't mean the people on the other are necessarily Satan incarnate. They might turn out to be. You guys might know from when I originally started looking into New Hampshire, I didn't know the board of New Hampshire. I knew Joletta Jarvis. She was a friend of mine. That was my prejudices going in, but I obviously did not let that sway me because I did come down on the side that Joletta Jarvis did wrong. She's still my friend, but she did wrong. We are more than our worst moments. Thank God, because all of us have had some pretty bad moments. So, in coming into this, I'm going to let you know my prejudices right off the bat. It seems like there's some Mises Caucus implications, and I am now a member of the Mises Caucus. However, I'm a respected member of the Mises Caucus because I am free to criticize them or not criticize them. I am not a sycophant. I'll never be anyone's sycophant. Also, all of the players involved are my friends on both sides. And that makes things very, very difficult for me. It's not like New Hampshire where my only friend really was Joletta. And it turned out she was the baddie. On this one, I know everybody. And it's hard for me because I'm very fond of everybody. I had visited Delaware back in 2 years ago and stayed with Dale Thomas, who's the most delightful Christian man you'll ever meet in your life. And you guys might have heard me tell the story of where this poor guy, because he is such an upright Christian man, and we were playing a mini version. I can't remember what it is now. You guys told me it's not D&D, but it's like a quick and dirty type of role-playing thing, and I was just messing with him because I rolled this unicorn, and I named my unicorn Me So Horny, and when I had the gold, all I wanted to buy was cocaine, so I had a coked up horny unicorn, and yeah, that was our little mini role-playing game, and it was fun. So that's my memories of Delaware. I am so very, very fond of Delaware. It was beautiful. Coronavirus hit right after that. And I actually, I took literature for a bed and breakfast out there. I fell in love with Delaware so much. So this pains me. It pains me because I love the place. It pains me because all of the people are friends of mine. And they got a mention in Wayne's World, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time. Hey, we're in Delaware. So, yes, this is not an easy situation for me. So, for those of you who don't even know that anything's going on in Delaware, I'd like to show you what's public. And what was public was an announcement from the Libertarian Party of Delaware. And this caused much consternation. And after I read this letter, I did, or started doing, what I always do. I contacted all of the involved parties, not just this one side, not just the other, everyone I could. I contacted them and asked if they'd be willing to talk with me. And so far, everyone has been. I've only been able to talk with one person so far. I'm scheduled to be talking with everyone else. They can talk with me on the record, off the record, a bit of both. I never betray confidences unless there's corruption. And in this case, at least the national party's not involved, so that's a plus. This does seem to be strictly an internal Delaware issue. And I do have another show coming up in 45 minutes, so you can tell that I plan on this to be very short. So let me pull up the public letter that started everyone wondering what the heck is going on in Delaware. And I'll let you know my initial gut. Doesn't mean it's right. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. I want to make it big. That's what she said. Sorry, I can't help myself. And let me, because I want you guys to be able to read it. And ask whatever questions you have. Give whatever opinions you'd like. And I'll tell you my thoughts. But I have to tell you my goal in all of this, as it always is in these circumstances, is I want to be fair. That's not going to make everyone happy. But I have earned the reputation I have for a reason. The only thing I have is my integrity. I'm not here to make anyone happy. I'm here to come to what I believe is my principled opinion. You may differ, and that's okay. But I am not going to let factional interest guide me. But I think once you guys see what happened when I read this letter, you'll be able to guess right off the bat what my bottom line is going to be. Barring any corruption, taking what was said in this letter mostly as true for the sake of argument. And when I say mostly as true, I'm not claiming anyone's lying. I'm just claiming sometimes people see things differently. And it's not a truth or falsity thing. It's just a subjectivity thing. But I think once I read this letter, most of you who know me well will be able to tell right away what my position is going to be. Okay? Without even knowing any of the players. Because I am as predictable as the sunrise. Okay? All right. That's the good thing about having deontological principles. People can usually guess where I'm going to come down. So here we go. State board turnover. I like their little, the way they added I like that. See the shape of Delaware and then the Statue of Liberty. I never noticed that. I like that. I like that much better than the chicken. Boo, boo, chicken. Okay, state board turnover. And is it wrong that I'm hungry? I see turnover and I'm just thinking of like apple turnover and it's making me hungry. Okay, at an online meeting of the LPD State Board, a change was adopted to our bylaws regarding disciplinary policy. You guys know already. Okay, I want to give a disclaimer right off the bat. There is no way I can be completely objective in this situation because of my very bad experience with discipline with the LNC. And I am always going to carry that experience with me, but it is particularly raw at the moment. So right off the bat, take anything I say on the disciplinary issues with a grain of salt, realizing that I'm very ass mad at the LNC and that will color my opinion. Okay? So that's a bias I am admitting right up front. The minute I see the word discipline, I just want to, unless we're talking about the fun kind, that involves like consensual activity between adults, I'm not interested. Okay? Alrighty. At an online meeting of the LPD, I don't know why it's not LPDE. Okay, regarding disciplinary policy to enable 2/3 of our county chairs. Now, I'm sorry I keep stopping, but I'm trying to give you background. Remember that Delaware is a small state. There's only 3 counties. 2/3 of the county chairs sound like a lot until you realize there's only 3 counties, so you're talking 2 out of 3 chairs. You're not dealing with a state where you've maybe got 15, 20 affiliates. You've got 3. Okay. 2/3 of our county chairs to remove a member of the state board rather than the previous 4/5 requirement among all state board members. I do not know how many state board members there typically are. I haven't looked that up yet. I've just learned of all this today. So I don't know what the numerical difference is here. Maybe somebody could look up. The website's probably already changed. So board members judged. What? Oh, okay. Board member. Okay, this is weird though, isn't it? Okay. Board members judge that a body is poorly suited to police itself without an outside source of accountability, and that the 4/5 requirement was too difficult to surmount when dealing with multiple board members who were disruptive, disrespectful, incompetent, dishonest, or otherwise compromising to the mission of the LPD. Okay, I've got some problems here already. Board members are judging that the board is poorly suited to police itself, but judging that you're poorly suited to police yourself is in fact policing yourself, so you can't make that statement without contradicting yourself. And whenever anyone tells me that a requirement to remove a duly elected board member is too hard, I go, cry me a river. Okay? There's a reason it's difficult. But there's some lessons to be learned here. And we'll go over this. Alrighty. Pursuant to this new process, that already triggers me. State Chair Bill Hines, Vice Chair Amy Lepore, and new council State Board Representative Dave Casey were removed from the State Board. Okay. Now, there should be something right here that you should notice a problem with right away. The board judged that a body is poorly suited to police itself and said it should instead be policed by the county chairs. But if you notice something, the county chairs are also on the state board. I suppose it is possible that the state board representative from the counties won't be the chair, but in this case, Dave Casey was the chair of Newcastle. So there's a disconnect here in this statement that I don't like. I want to know if the other two county representatives on the state board were also those county chairs, because if that is true, what this board has done, can someone look that up if you can? The other two counties in Delaware, their state board representatives, who are they? And if you can see if they are also the county chairs of their two counties that they represent. If so, what this board has done is taken the previous 4/5 requirement of board members and turned it into 2 board members. That's a problem. I spoke, full disclosure, you're going to see later, the new chair is Will McVeigh. I spoke with him earlier today. He's a friend. I did not realize this issue when I talked to him. He was very open to further conversation. I'm going to ask him about this, because if the county chairs are also board members, then it's not a true statement that you're removing the judgment from the board. You're just removing it to a smaller board. If you guys are following what I'm saying. I'm thinking this through while I'm talking to you. This is the first time I've systematically read this letter. I skimmed it earlier today. I'm also curious if a trial is required. What are the terms of office? I haven't looked at their bylaws at all yet. Hello, Julian, and hello, everyone else. I'm sorry, everyone else. Julian and everyone else. See how important you are, Julian. State Chair Bill Hines was elected in an uncontested campaign. Well, then maybe he should have been contested based on false pretenses. Okay, I have a problem with this. Here's my question. It says he failed to disclose factional allegiances within the National Party that do not suit the alignment interests of the LPD. That's based upon your judgment. This is talking about the Mises Caucus. I would hardly disagree that the factional allegiances to the Mises Caucus don't suit the alignment interests of any affiliate. We need to stop this. But this thing on false pretenses, was he asked if he was a member of a caucus? There is no requirement to, okay, so JJ says 10 members on the board, 2 from each county. Are the 2 that are on the county, are they also the state chairs? I mean, the county chairs is what I would be really interested in knowing. I know they're not required to be, but are they? If he was not asked, there can be no false pretenses. There can only be false pretenses if he was asked and he lied about it. No, my question, good thinkful duck speaker, was the 2 board members from each county, is one of them the county chair for each of the counties? I know it's not required that one of them be the county chair, but is it in fact the case that 3 of the board members are the 3 county chairs? Okay. So I haven't heard an allegation that Bill Hines was at. Yes. Okay, do you see the huge problem then? Oh my God. That first paragraph says that they thought that the body was poorly suited to police itself, so instead they gave the authority to a smaller body within the body to police itself. That is bad. I need to talk to Will about that. I'll get to some conclusions at the end. Okay. Furthermore, I don't like people being called liars without proof. Doesn't say he was asked. And you don't have to disclose factional allegiances. You just don't. If somebody asks you, you can refuse to answer or you can lie. If he lied, that would bother me. Furthermore, in his brief tenure as chair, I found out these board elections were 4 months ago. I thought they were longer ago. They were 4 months ago. So he was not asked. Then there's no false pretenses. It's the state of Delaware. I thought Will McVeigh was the chair. Dylan, I'm learning this stuff as we're going. Libertarian Revolution, it is the state of Delaware. I'm not talking about Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay, furthermore, in his brief tenure as chair, 4 months, brand new chair. No. Okay, Dylan, we're quibbling here. I'm not going to, Will McVeigh is the ostensible chair. I understand that and I'm not, by saying he's the chair, I'm not taking a side here. I'm just following this letter on the letterhead. I'm not trying to quibble. You all know what I mean. If we can all just agree, you know what I mean. If we could not do that part, please, I'd really appreciate it. Will McVeigh is the person who has declared himself chair, if that will satisfy everybody. Because I don't have an opinion yet about whether this was done legally or not. I have no idea. I'm taking for sake of argument in reading this letter that it was done legally. Just for sake of argument. I haven't read their documents. Okay, if it's his brief tenure as chair, he's only been chair 4 months. It's from my understanding that's the first time he's been chair of Delaware. You can't judge somebody's performance by 4 months. He has demonstrated a tendency towards making unilateral decisions without consulting the board. Did he do so outside the bylaws? If he didn't, and he made decisions that the bylaws allow him to make without consulting the board, then he didn't do anything improper. Now, I might disagree with him making unilateral decisions. There are times where my husband is the state chair of Colorado, where he has the authority to make unilateral decisions on certain things, and I tell him to consult the board. But If he didn't, it wouldn't make him wrong. And it certainly wouldn't be a removable offense. It might be something I don't care for. Failure to understand his role and responsibilities to the party. I need specifics. And has comported himself on social media in a way that portrayed the LPD in a negative light. I need details. I am not going to accept that blanket statement. He has held his factional interests higher than those of the LPD. Citation needed. I need proof. I need proof. Okay, Vice Chair Amy LaPure was also elected under false pretenses. Now, Mr. McVeigh told me, okay, this isn't what I was told. Okay, this second sentence is internally contradictory. Not only did she fail to openly disclose her factional allegiances, but she remains the state coordinator for one such organization despite assurances that she would resign that position upon being elected vice chair. You can't assure somebody that you're going to resign a position you didn't disclose, because then you understand the problem here? So this sentence is, the first part and the second part can't both be true. From what I was told from Mr. McVeigh, she disclosed that she was the Mises state coordinator, but said that she would resign and then didn't. I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying what I was told. This compromises her neutrality as an officer of the state party. There is no requirement that you cannot be a caucus member and be an officer of the state party. There's just no, that doesn't compromise your neutrality. That's up to her to decide. I am now a Mises Caucus member, and if I'm reinstated to the LNC, I will remain a Mises Caucus member. I can still be neutral. It might mean that I'm going to have more headaches in my life if I end up making decisions that the caucus doesn't agree with, but it doesn't mean I still won't make neutral decisions. This is the reason why I resigned the Radical Caucus. I made the decisions I needed to make. The Radical Caucus didn't like them. I didn't like the tension I felt. But it never compromised my neutrality, ever. And it didn't call my integrity into question. Not only, okay, I wish I'd read this before I talked to Will a little bit. Okay. And full disclosure, as I said to everyone here, hopefully people here don't require your enemies to be mine. I remain friends with Will. Maybe that won't be the case in the future. I don't know. But I have friends that aren't necessarily the friends of my friends. I don't require people to be friends with the same people I am, and I don't accept anyone requiring that of me as well. Will has always been good to me. I understand he might not have been so nice to other people. There are people, you will undoubtedly have friends that will tell you I haven't been nice to them, okay? Everybody has unique experiences, I think. I haven't liked his anti-Mises attitude. I'll be straight with you there. I unfriended him on Facebook because of that. I didn't unfriend him in real life, but I just got tired of seeing his posts. There was notice, Dave. We will get into that, though, because there's a question about it, but there was notice. Okay. Not only is the organization itself a divisive presence within the LP nationally, this now is starting to seem to me like a Mises purge. It is not a divisive presence within the LP nationally. I will disagree with that. There are divisive people in every group. There certainly are divisive people in the Mises Caucus. There's divisive people in the Radical Caucus. There's divisive people who aren't in any caucuses. This had no place in this post. But it also recently suffered a string of public relations setbacks, including the suspension of its Facebook group for hate speech. Okay, that is a low blow considering that Facebook banned me for hate speech for defending a Jewish person against anti-Semitism. So to make Facebook your standard is just, no libertarian should ever do that. Failure to comply with Federal Election Commission regulations, that's none of your business. That's between them and the FEC. Libertarians do not even believe the FEC should exist. So that has no place in a libertarian letter in my thing. And being named in a defendant for a lawsuit for defamation and invasion of privacy. That lawsuit has not been adjudicated. Being named as a defendant, we don't believe in guilty before a trial. Okay? So that has no place in there. All of which reflect poorly on the LPD having a vice chair as a state coordinator for that organization. That's for the delegates to decide. That's not for political enemies to decide. It's obvious here that there's a problem with the Mises Caucus, which makes the people who aren't in favor of the Mises Caucus, we can use maybe a softer term than enemy, but let's just say political opponents. Of course, you're not going to want a political opponent to be on the board with you. Okay? I am not happy with this letter. NCC State Board Representative Dave Casey has subjected LPD members to a long string of abuses before even beginning his tenure with the party. That statement does not help you, because if he was doing this before he was elected, that means the delegates knew what they were getting and obviously did not think it disqualifying. If you had said he was such a nice guy till he got elected and then he started abusing people, then maybe that statement would carry some weight. His confrontational and disrespectful attitude elevated to the level of hurling personal insults at party members, board members, and their families. I'd have to see evidence because I've been accused of the same thing. So I'm not very sympathetic to this thing. He has done so on social media in a way incompatible with his obligations to the party. Do you have some kind of policy that controls people's personal life? Was this on the party page? Was this in his official position? Need more? Okay. A letter like this without the people having a public opportunity to defend themselves is defamatory. Will, I highly suggest that you pull this letter down, because I think you are opening up the Delaware party to being sued. Honestly, I don't believe in defamation laws. I would never sue the party or its affiliates, but I'm not the people in this letter. And I don't think you got legal advice before posting this. This is defamatory, and you're not giving these people an opportunity to defend themselves. I would highly, highly suggest you pull this down, but nothing dies on the internet. It's probably too late. This was ill-advised. As a friend, Will, this was ill-advised. I don't know who wrote this. I don't know if you did. I don't know who did. Whoever did. Okay, the Libertarian Party is founded on a philosophy of openness and transparency. True. Which means that we should get to hear the defense of the accused. It is a difficult decision to exercise another fundamental part of this philosophy and choose to voluntarily disassociate from individuals who are not aligned to our goals. That's for the delegates to decide, not political opponents. Presenting our philosophy in the most positive light possible in order to appeal to voters across the political spectrum who are not comfortable in their own parties is difficult under the best of circumstances. I got the same thing hurled at me. I'm not sympathetic to this. Doing so while members of the state board obstruct or actively subvert, I'd have to see evidence of this. We are a small party, so turning away willing volunteers is no easy decision. Yet when these volunteers create a hostile environment, it discourages new volunteers and demoralizes existing ones. Accusing people publicly without the opportunity for them to defend themselves creates a hostile environment. I'm sorry. This letter is creating a hostile environment. I hadn't read this carefully before my phone call. And that is my bad, or I would have had additional questions. Well, we can talk again, because I'm sure you'll watch this, and I'm totally open to additional conversations. The LPD wishes to grow in numbers and influence, but growing numbers in the wrong directions. What does that mean? It seems like you're saying there are not our kind of people, and I don't like that. Sometimes we must tell people who are not conducive to our mission that they're not a good fit for leadership in our party. That is for the delegates at convention to decide. New officers have been selected by the remaining members of the state board in accordance with our bylaws to replace the state chair and vice chair. The Newcastle County affiliate will be charged with the task of replacing their representative. Though, okay, there's a threat here. I do not like this threat. The Newcastle County affiliate will be charged with the task of replacing. Okay, though further action is pending to ensure all of the LPD's county affiliates are governed in accordance with the highest, got something in my way here, ideals of libertarian principles. There's a threat here that if Newcastle doesn't get in line, they are going to be dissolved. And the board has designated Will McVeigh to serve as state chair and James Brittingham to serve as vice chair. Was James Brittingham the one that was bringing in Amy's husband into the argument? I don't want to say he was. I'd have to go look at that, but I think he was. Okay. No. This is no good. This letter is no good. Even if the board thought this was something they needed to do, that it was impossible to work with the other board members. Okay, thank you, Dylan. I'm glad I didn't say it was somebody it wasn't. Whatever. If they thought they had no choice, this is not the way you do it. When I say this, I'm not even talking about the bylaws process. This letter. This letter is not good. It's internally contradictory and defamatory. And comes across as an anti-Mises Caucus decree. Now, so I talked about that's what's going on. I didn't mean to actually analyze this letter so much. I just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. Now, I do not know if they followed their bylaws. I need to take a look at it. I suspect that they did. I'm going to give you my hunches and my intuitions. My intuition is that everything they did was perfectly, quote unquote, legal. That doesn't make it right. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Now, I could be wrong. I haven't read their bylaws. Again, I haven't read them yet. And some of the questions I have are, what gives the board the moral authority to overturn the will of the delegates at convention? The idea that, because this has been pulled on me, the delegates gave them the authority to do this bylaws move, so they must be okay with doing this bylaws move to then remove the officers. That is such an unconnected series of events that I do not find that line of argumentation persuasive. Just like I don't find the line of argumentation that since our bylaws say that the LNC can remove an officer, that the delegates were okay with it being done the way it was done. One thing does not mean the other. And I don't think the delegates, and I'm getting a bit out of my lane here because I do not live in Delaware. It's not my affiliate. But just being around other libertarians, I don't think the intent of allowing the board to amend the bylaws was ever meant to allow the board to assassinate their political rivals. From what I understand, it's the same reason a lot of county affiliates, including Douglas County here in Colorado, allow the board to amend its bylaws. Well, in Douglas County, it was because we were a brand new county who didn't know what we were doing, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't screw the pooch with our bylaws. But a lot of times smaller, like counties or smaller state affiliates, the reason the board's allowed to do that is in case there's an emergency that needs to be handled before there is before there is a time for a convention. An emergency is not, I can't get along with the board. An emergency is not, well, this threshold is too high. That's not an emergency. An emergency is something existential. Otherwise, it should wait for the delegates at convention. And yeah, Mike, the board here in Delaware can amend their own bylaws. But as I said, in all fairness, Douglas County LP, we also can amend our own bylaws. We don't exercise that. I'm trying to think of the only bylaws amendments we've done was to clear up some contradictions, never for anything like this. I would expect we'd get booted out in our asses if we ever did something like this. And Douglas County now is mature enough, and our bylaws are mature enough that this upcoming convention, or as soon as we can, I'd like to remove the ability from the board to amend its bylaws. So I don't think saying, well, because the delegates gave the board the ability to amend the bylaws, that the delegates are then okay with them amending them in any way they see fit, including like this. I don't find that argument persuasive. But ultimately, it's going to be up to Delaware delegates at a Delaware convention to take care of it. Now, a lesson to everyone. Read your state party bylaws. If it allows your state board to amend the bylaws themselves, post with all haste. Get that changed. As far as the idea that there might be an emergency, you can put in a provision like we did in Colorado for the board to call an emergency bylaws amendment only convention with short notice to call delegates to amend the bylaws. There are other ways to take care of potential emergencies than allowing the board to do it. Jean asks, I've been friends with both Gilletta and Will McVeigh, two people at the center of Mises Caucus purges. I'm curious if in hindsight you can see indications that point to their power trips. No. Well, no. And I don't know enough about... Gilletta was, okay, a lot of people get mad at me here. I do not believe Gilletta was on a power trip. I believe that Gilletta was used. That's my opinion. A lot of people think I'm being way too charitable, and that might, in fact, be the case. So, no. But my friendships with people often have not hardly anything to do with what they do in the LP. It's just liberty in general. I tend to stay out of the business of other affiliates, so I don't pay attention to that kind of thing, maybe. And also, I make everyone in the world is my friend until they've done something terrible. Most people treat everyone as a neutral until they do something good. I tend to treat everyone as a friend until they do something terrible. That comes to bite me in the ass a lot of times, but I prefer to be that way. I've been hurt a lot because of that policy. Basically, if you're not an asshole, you're my friend. The minute you become, you prove and you really have to prove yourself to be an asshole for me to write somebody off as an asshole. Okay, so my initial impressions is that this letter is terrible. And this is going to harm Delaware. But that the delegates in convention are going to need to take care of this. My initial impression is what they did was probably legal, but not the right thing to do. Certainly not a nice thing to do. And one of the questions I asked Will was, okay, you say the board wasn't getting anything done. Okay, so what? What harm, like what devastating harm would there be for you just to wait to next convention? I can tell you we've had a lot of useless boards in Colorado. I've never thought to do a coup to get rid of them. I would just always go, there's always next convention. Honestly, if they really thought that these board members were so bad, that would have been my advice. Wait until convention and elect new people. You don't do this. Now, yeah. And when I was speaking with Will, he said my criticisms were fair. But they felt this is what they had to do. I disagree. I don't think there's anything life and death that you ever have to do this. Now, it could be I'm going to read their bylaws and think that they didn't follow their requirements. And I promised Will that if I did find that, I would talk to him about it first to make sure I was understanding what happened properly. So, this is unfortunate. Now, however, somebody here had said it's New Hampshire again. It's not, though. I want to explain the difference between here and New Hampshire. New Hampshire was caused by the interference of the national chair. There's no indication whatsoever here that the National Party had any advanced knowledge that this was going to happen or was involved in any way. So it is strictly something that happened within Delaware. And as such, the National Party will not get involved in this. And they shouldn't. If there ends up being two groups calling themselves the Libertarian Party of Delaware, the National Party will not decide which one is the correct one. They will tell the Delaware Libertarians to figure it out. If such a thing would happen, there's a good chance that they would get no delegates automatically credentialed, and they'd be told, just like Oregon was, come to Reno and let the delegates straighten it out. You risk not having any delegates from Delaware. The National Party only has one tool in its toolbox when it comes to state affiliates that might be behaving in a way that grieves their sensibilities, and that is disaffiliation, which is the nuclear option that should only be exercised in the most gross of circumstances. If they followed their bylaws, even if we, I say we, I'm not on, even if they, I'm not the we right now, I'm in exile, don't like their bylaws, that's up to the Delaware Libertarians to fix, not the National Party. I would love to see some way for everyone to try to work this out. This isn't good for anybody here. But just reading this letter and making the assumption that they followed their bylaws, my opinion so far, without learning additional information, would be that they might have been legally removed, but they were unjustly removed. Or to me, ethics is a larger branch. Unprincipled. Say this was an unprincipled way to deal with your fellow board members. And I would really want the contradictions in here. To be addressed, because they tried to make it seem like they were enabling a body outside of the board to remove board members, but really they didn't. All they did was enable basically a smaller committee within the existing board to remove board members in that first paragraph, unless there's something I'm grossly misunderstanding here. And if you want to explain something to me here, I'd love to hear it. And that sentence where it says she didn't disclose her allegiances, but then said she would resign her allegiances. There was 30 days notice posted in the Facebook group with the draft of the amendment, but I've also seen the draft of the amendment, and it's the same amendment allows them to dissolve the Newcastle affiliate as well. So this isn't just about the board members. Let me show you something that really caused me concern. Let me go to Facebook. Because somebody posted one of the notices on my wall. And when I saw this, I was super, super concerned. But it's going to be up to the delegates at convention. Don't ever allow your board to amend your bylaws. Oh, look, you get to see what we're doing here. And I got to start a new show in a minute here. Right here. Yeah, check this out. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay, the State Board of the LPD reserves the right to adjudicate any issues in the county affiliates in order to ensure that all county affiliates reflect the highest ideals of the Libertarian Party. That is very, very subjective. The State Board may take action, including removal, reappointment of county officers. So basically, the State Board can take over a county affiliate. Veto of county motions. Amending the county bylaws. Reassignment of responsibility for county assets. Oh my God. Mike. And then okay. This was proposed today. Okay. Oh my God. This is awful. And what does it mean by members must be approved? So are they talking about affiliate members? Mike, look at this proposal about how the state board could just take over a county affiliate, including amending a county's bylaws. Is this append to Article 7, Cam? Is this dealing with just regular members of the state party? If so, okay. Oof. Okay. This here anyone, listen, I'm not in the LNC. Take my opinions with a grain of salt. However, these proposals, if they pass, these could be grounds for disaffiliation by the National Party. These are just so absolutely offensive. Yeah, I only read it early right now, Mike. These are so absolutely offensive that I could see a case for disaffiliation. I don't want to say that too flippantly or quickly. But this is bad. This is really bad. There's basically, man, whew, this is really bad. Hopefully these won't pass, but it seems like it might. Wow. Wow, wow. Well, I don't want to, this hasn't passed yet, it's just being proposed, but this should die, kill it with fire. So I don't want to overreact when it hasn't passed, but this is really bad. Oh my word. Okay, well, I urge you to just stop, please. Okay, everyone, I need to start my other show, and I don't have the book downstairs, and my foot just fell asleep, so I'm going to be running upstairs with a numb foot. Wake up. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this. I didn't expect it to take an hour. I have to start another show, so I'm going to run upstairs, get the book we're going to be covered. I'm going to end this one, and we will be back. Wow. Wowzer. Okay, guys. I'll see you in a bit. 3 minutes to be exact.